And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Nestor games come in these little pencil case type containers. They each have a different symbol on the end to differentiate. Some of them are pretty good, and today I'm going to talk about one of the ones I like the best, and it has the fun name of Rebel Moon Defense. It's a spaceship game, but it really reminds me of Duel in the Dark. Duel in the Dark is an airplane game in which one player sets up the Nazi defenses, and then the other player flies the airplane through trying to avoid those defenses. This game has a very similar feel, a little bit smaller, a little bit more abstract, but still pretty interesting game. Here's the board. The big bad bomb is being sent by the Empire to destroy the Rebel Moon. Okay, it's going to get there, and so what the Rebels are going to be doing is they're going to be setting up defenses. So basically the game is all in the setup, or mostly in the setup. The Rebel player will be taking different base defenses on their turn and placing them in various spots. Each one is colored red, orange, and yellow, which matters to some degree, and I'll explain that in a moment. While alternating between moves, the Emperor, or the evil guy, is placing out different asteroids on the board, and you can never put an asteroid next to a rebel base, but at the same time you can't put rebel bases next to asteroids either. So at some point there's going to come a time where the board itself is finished, and once the board itself is finished, this is not a finished board, but once the board's finished, then the bad guy starts his move. What he's going to do each turn is he's going to turn his spaceship if he wants to, and then move forward one space. Then the rebel player can activate one of their bases if they want to. They just flip it over and do whatever that base says. Each base has a different ability. There are the base with the lasers. I like these. They do 6 damage to the enemy ship, and they do it in a straight line from the base, anywhere that line is. However, if you've noticed, this spaceship here is a 3-layer spaceship. Let's look at it. It's made up of yellow, orange, and red layers with a die in it. As you take damage, you reduce the die. Once you take more than 6 damage, the yellow layer is gone, and then the orange layer is up there, and that layer has 6 damage. Once that's gone, then the red layer. And once the red layer is gone, it's just a die. Okay? The importance of the different color layers is the fact that the yellow layer can only be harmed by yellow bases, for the most part. There are some differences, but for example, this one here, this red laser can only hit the ship when it's red or when it's just a die. So you have to know where to put it in that regard. Then there is this base, which doesn't hit the spaceship at all, but you can use it. It's a one-time use, and it will get rid of one of the asteroids that it can see in its line of sight. By the way, I forgot to mention, the laser is also a one-time use and comes off the board. Then there's an EMP device. This can be used 3 times. You put a little token on it to show that you're using it the first time. Then the second time you take the token off, and then the third time you take it off. Each time it's going to roll dice. The first time it rolls 3 dice, and you will take one of those dice and subtract another die, and that's how much damage it will do. Again, it can only do damage, this is the yellow one, only to the yellow shield. And the orange one can only do damage to the orange shield. Then there is the leech mines. That's this one here, the one that was turned over. Leech mines do 3 damage if you're next to them, 2 damage if you're 1 space away, and 1 damage if you're 2 spaces away. Now they're very useful because they will hit you no matter what color you're on. And then there's the contact mine. It's a single shot, does 6 damage if you touch it. Alright, very useful. However, again, you have to make sure you're next to the color. So basically, the player is trying to get their spaceship through, and they have some choices. I'll go this way, try to go around these asteroids, try not to get shot. Is this something I can fly by and be safe? And eventually get to the Rebel Moon. If you get there, you win. Otherwise, you lose. Now, in every game I've played so far, the bomb has not made it. It's got within 1 space, but it hasn't made it. So we often play to see how far you can make it to see before you blow up the moon. Although I feel that it's quite possible. It's a neat game, and like I said, most of it has to do with the setup, where you put everything. The rebel player, he sets everything out, and then the other player, he's moving and he's trying to figure out, now, do I head towards that one? Is it a bluff? Is it something that's just going to destroy the asteroid? Or is that the one that's going to do 6 damage to me? And so you're trying to just avoid your way and try to get in there to destroy the rebel moon. The game takes maybe 10 minutes or less to play, but you'll find that it's a lot of fun. There's a small bit of randomness in the dice that are rolled from the EMP devices, but other than that, everything is very straightforward. I like it. I think the pieces are neat. It's neat to, it gets very tense as the bomb has one layer peeled off, another layer, and it gets closer and closer, and will it reach the planet? Well, in our games, I hope it does at some point. But either way, it was still a lot of fun, and it really gives you good bang for your buck.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.